We are live, and I've got a song. Get up in the evening, and I ain't got nothing to say. I come up in the morning, I go to bed out feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired, and I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby, I could use just a little help. You can't start a fire. Can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. There we go. Nadin, how the devil are you? And you know, at the top of the show, I said, could you mute? You're still muted.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. So my very first question I ask all of my guests is, why did you choose that song?
Oh, this is a weird story. When I was 14, we had these teacher albums and albums that we handed to people that they could write something in, your favorite color, your favorite song, your favorite artist. And one of my teachers wrote Bruce Springsteen. I never heard about this person, and I had to look him up. And since then, I've been an avid fan, and I can sing to all of the old songs. Love it.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I think it's probably the first time I've had a request for Bruce, but I wasn't really into him. And then someone suggested it during lockdown because I was playing my guitar. And like, oh, some of these songs are really good and they're quite easy to play. So yeah, thanks for picking that. We've got Merlin in the house today. So hi, Merlin. How are you? Good to see you. Gary's joining us as well. Hi, Gary. I think Gary's up your neck of the woods as well. Whereabouts are you? Nadin?
I'm in Dunfermline, close to Edinburgh. Gary,
right,
where are you?
Don't know where Gary is, but he's up that direction. You know what us Sassenachs are like. We don't. It's Scotland.
All right. Okay.
Although, what an amazing holiday I had when we drove our camper van around Scotland. Absolutely incredible.
Oh, there's Paige as well. She's one of my members.
We got a few. We got from Idaho.
Yes.
Idaho. We're going international today.
Yes.
So he's not going to say exactly where in Scotland. It's a secret for Gary. Anyway, Nadin, tell us a little bit about you, what you do.
I am a web designer and SEO expert and general digital marketing, and I've been developing websites for over 20 years now, mostly focused on B2B businesses. And I seem to be attracting lots of trade business and manufacturing, construction, things like that. But I also have a training side to my business, which is the SEO Club, which helps micro businesses to learn SEO and be found in Google.
And that's exactly how we met. And what you don't know about SEO isn't worth knowing about. Yeah, if you've been doing all of that for so long, that is why you're so knowledgeable. And you've also been playing with something else, but we'll talk about that later. You've also been on my workshop, but what was making me laugh as I was playing, you were waving a book around. What book have you got there? That is hilarious. It always makes me laugh when I see other people with my book. So yeah,
brilliant. It's the best
thank you.
book I've found. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. And I'm not paying you for this either.
Nope.
So you obviously use LinkedIn, but what other social media do you use regularly?
So I use Instagram mostly, and Facebook and LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
my love affair is with Instagram a little bit more. That's where all my cool people find me. LinkedIn, I'm a bit hesitant, but I'm getting better with your encouragement. And Facebook, I usually use groups, so people are in. I think Facebook is more about group activity rather than following the feed.
Sure. And I've seen your Instagram, and that is incredible. What is it with the cats?
Well, when I started Instagram, it wasn't too long ago, a couple of years ago maybe, and I didn't really take it seriously. And I played around with different designs, and I love cats. I'm a cat person. I used to have two, now we have one. And I played around with one image, and that stuck with me. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to use cats now. And some marketing person said to me, that doesn't work because it doesn't resonate with SEO. And it's like, who cares? Funkypigeon.com. What have pigeons got to do with cards? It's different.
Absolutely.
So, and when people see a cat, they know it's SEO now. So
yeah, and this is the thing, right? It's why I wear the yellow t-shirt. It's why I play my guitar at the top of the show. This is why I call myself the 15-minute guy. It's got nothing to do with LinkedIn, but it becomes recognizable, and that's the thing. So, and I guess you know all about that. Why do you use LinkedIn then? If Instagram is your love affair?
So Instagram is for my B2C customers. So that's basically I'm helping well, it's B2B really as well. So I'm helping small business owners who want to be found in Google to understand SEO. And LinkedIn, I suppose I use it more like my portfolio, so that I show my best clients that I've worked with, the practices that I have put in place, videos that we have taken. My husband's in the business as well. He does amazing nighttime photography, landscape photography, as well as time lapse. He's just editing a time lapse we've done of snowdrops in our garden from going up to, so that will be dropped later on.
Oh, fantastic.
That's been going on for 3 weeks.
How long did that take?
3 weeks.
Wow.
But
Wow.
his
He
longest,
stood out there. He stood out there for 3 weeks taking photos like this.
exactly, with a sleeping bag, exactly.
Wow,
Yeah.
he must be
No,
freezing.
his longest time lapse is over 3 years. So
wow.
yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. Maybe we need him on the show as well. That's brilliant. So yeah, please share that. Did I say hello to Pavel and Debbie as well? All these people coming in all at the same time. So good to see you all, guys. Thanks for tuning in. How often do you post on LinkedIn, Nadin?
The question would be easier. How often would I like to post on LinkedIn, which would be every day, but I manage a couple of times a week.
Okay. Do you know how many people actually create content on LinkedIn?
1%.
1%. Yeah, absolutely. So you're doing more than 99% of people. So don't let it stress you. So how often do you post on Instagram then?
Well, if I'm in a good form, then if I find the time, 3-4 times a week. But averaging about twice a week as well.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's consistent, it's regular, and that's the thing. And I think what happens is someone goes into social media, I want to post it, I'm going to do a 100-day challenge or whatever, and they do a little bit, and then they get fed up with it and never do anything ever again. So you're winning.
You can get fatigue really quickly, and I went through fatigue periods quite a few times. And if people want to start out with social media, what I recommend is to pick one platform, but don't pick the platform that you like. Pick the platform where your customers hang out. That should be the first thing. And then stick to this one platform only for 6 months until you can do this in your sleep backwards, and then you add on the second one. Trying to do 3-4 platforms at the same time is just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is they're different audiences, so you have to do things differently. So no dancing on LinkedIn, but if you want to do dancing, go to TikTok. So what do you think is the best time for you to post content? And that's across all platforms, or do you have different times on different platforms?
I have researched that in the past, and yes, I could spend my time and schedule it, and I genuinely post it when it's ready. And I think for Instagram, probably the timing is better in the evening, but because my customers are worldwide, we've got Paige here from Idaho. I mean, I've got people from California, from Switzerland, from Austria. They're all in different time zones. So the time as such isn't really that important, as long as something goes up and the engagement is generally quite high. And on LinkedIn, I tend to stick to weekdays. I tend to do it quite early in the morning, between 8 and 10. But it's not really a planned activity as such.
No, it's just when we get to do it, and when what you said there was you post content when it's ready, and I don't know if you remember slide 167 from the training. It says now, because that is the best time to create content. Is right now. You don't have to wait until Tuesday at 10 o'clock or whatever.
So I use for my, I still do a little bit of proposal photography, like secret proposals when people propose to their partner. And I have got one post scheduled per week on Facebook and Instagram, and that's always scheduled for 3-4 months advance. So I don't have to think about it at all. And it's not to attract clients, it's just to show social proof, yes, I am an active business.
Yeah.
And that just takes the pressure out of having to find content.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask my girlfriend to marry me, and so we do it at a certain place at a certain time, and you're there with the camera. That is brilliant. How did you get into that?
Accident. Somebody asked me to do this for them, and I thought, what? Never heard of it before. And I thought, I'll try anything. And since the last year, I photographed 38 proposals.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Crazy.
So my daughter and her now fiance went to Italy. Must have been last year now. And they were walking across this beach, and he got down on one knee, and luckily there was a photographer there. he'd organized it in Italy. I was sort of like, wow.
That's
So
brilliant. Yeah.
it is, but it's such an amazing memory, and they've got the photos. So yeah, what a cool thing to do. I love that. Debbie says how magical it is. It is absolutely magical. And the photo that she shared with everybody is just a picture. It's an absolute. They've been together for 7 years. It was about time, but it was still, her face was still. It was great, absolutely great. Anyway, we digress. I want to know more about SEO, but I also want to know about this Chat GPT thing, because anyone that was on our workshop that you were in got an extra special bonus at the end of the week. And I've been watching all this stuff about Chat GPT, and you sort of like think, oh, it's no good, it's not for me, etc., etc. You blew that up in the air that day. So go on, tell us a little bit about Chat GPT and why you use it and why it's quite incredible.
First of all, with SEO, just going back to that, I try to always find similarities to things that have got nothing to do with SEO so people understand it. And I wrote a blog post about how majority of people start with the SEO. And if you think about building a house, when you build a house, you do not start with buying the scatter cushions first. And you do not start with buying the furniture first.
You don't know my wife.
Okay. You start with looking for the location. You start with looking for a plot. You start with looking for the architect. You build the house. And at the end, it's the scatter cushions. Now, with SEO, people always, when they don't know much about SEO, they start with the scatter cushions. But you need to get your foundations right. And there's a good blog post on my Kulia website, how to get started, that explains all these foundations. So you need to have SSL, you need to have the EAT structure in place. It's a Google thing that conveys trust. And there's a lot of things. Website speed needs to be great. Website experience needs to be great. All of these things. Mobile needs to work on mobiles. And only then you start looking at content, keywords, and all that kind of things. And the scatter cushions is like adding design elements here and there. Whereas it's so much nicer and easier and cool to work with the design elements, whereas they have no impact on SEO. Now, where ChatGPT comes in is that I don't know if people are interested in SEO and how to get their rankings up is by providing content. Now, the word content is such a woolly subject, it's such a woolly word, it means not much to people who start out with SEO. And then people say, but it's relevant content. And relevant content to your customers is not content about you or what you do in your business. Relevant content is answering their questions and solving their problems. And everybody in your industry has got thousands of questions. And if you answer them on your website, and that's where ChatGPT comes in, if you don't know how to write blog posts, you go to ChatGPT, and I'll put the link in the comments as well. It's chat.openai.com. It's free to use at the moment. For example, you give it a prompt. A prompt is basically a question or something that you want ChatGPT to do. It's like a text field, and you enter, give me an outline for the blog post I write about why you need a bookkeeper for your small business. And ChatGPT will write you a blog outline with all the different subheadlines and the subjects it should include. So that will make it super easy for you to get started blogging. So when you start with an empty blog, you can have writer's block. and you don't want that. ChatGPT removes that. And then you can go through and you can ask ChatGPT to say, write me an introduction for this blog post. And it does that. ChatGPT can write you the full blog post, but beware not to copy and paste this on your website. Always check for factualness, always amend it so it sounds like you have written it, and always check for plagiarism, because ChatGPT has got the content from somewhere and reassembled it. So you want to make sure there is no plagiarism going on. There are also websites that allow you to check if the content is original. For example, Originality AI, it's another website that I found, but I can put them into the comments after.
That's the thing, isn't it? With ChatGPT, it can do everything for you, or the way you advocate it, which is what was brilliant when you did that presentation in our workshop, was it can give you the outline. It can give you the pointers. And the trouble is with, you said earlier, there's only 1% of people creating content on LinkedIn. That's because they haven't got an idea.
Yeah.
Which is why I wrote that amazing book that you've got. But with something like ChatGPT, then that's going to give you the ideas. So there really is no excuse not to create content, don't you think?
Yeah. And the cool thing is as well, I mean, a lot of people use Canva now, and Canva comes with millions of stock images. And that can make Canva, when you work with Canva for a while, you kind of get a feel of the kind of images that are there. And you can take this a step further, this whole AI malarkey. And I am in love with AI. There are software that's now available like DALL-E. I've put this in here. It's called labs.openai.com, that allows you to generate artwork, as in graphics, from something that you say. For example, I want to create a photograph of a tree on the beach. And you can make this prompt as detailed or as short as you want, and it generates 4 images that are usable for anything you want in your blog posts, on your social media. If you use DALL-E, there is a logo in place. I am currently playing around with Midjourney, which is something I've just discovered.
That's another level, isn't it? Midjourney.
That's mind-blowing, yes. Yeah. It runs on Discord, so it took me a little while to figure out how it works, but the images it creates are stunning. And it could have been taken. And now I'm seeing the images. I know why some of these Instagram photos are so great, because it's AI.
This is amazing. So Debbie's got a question for us.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you put this on your website? I have low ideas, but just not sure where to start. We have a very active YouTube channel with a how-to section as well. So great question.
Great question, Debbie. So in your blog should never be your business diary. A blog should be where you answer the questions, and don't call it anything else. Call it a blog. Don't call it diary or journal or something like that. Call a spade a spade. Every single blog post should only answer one question. So if you have a how-to guide on a certain aspect in your business, write one blog post about it and be super concise and precise about it. Do not hold back anything at all, and make sure every blog post has got a call to action. And the call to action could be, check out the following blog post about this, or it could be download my ebook or join my newsletter, for example. So don't let people go into a dead end on your blog. Always make them do something at the end. You can have CTAs, call to actions, dotted in your blog post, structure them really nicely. And we explained how to do all this in the SEO Club really well. Don't take on too many blog posts at one time. If you publish one a week, if you can manage that, your content, your website traffic will blow up in a year's time. It's not something that happens overnight, but it does happen over and over again.
So Debbie is the baby lady. I think I've got that right, Debbie. And she's got, I don't know how many million videos on YouTube of different prams and push chairs and stuff like that, and why and that sort of thing. She could actually turn that into using the use some AI to get the transcript
and then she could turn that into a blog post, couldn't she?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know how
fantastic.
you use, I think YouTube allows you to create transcripts and download them as well. And you can just copy them, and you can take the transcript, put it into ChatGPT, and tell it to turn it into a blog post.
There you go. Debbie, I know what you're doing this afternoon. So we've got the AI. I love all the AI. What's some top tips that I need to do today to make sure my SEO is right on my website?
Well, if you're a local business, get your Google My Business profile updated. Always make sure that's updated, and add one news item per month to Google My Business. Google My Business is not social media, but add one item that gets you found more, and start getting reviews. If your industry is a travel industry, you need to be on TripAdvisor. If you are in a software industry, you need to be on Trustpilot. If you are a local business, get your Google reviews up, and just ask everybody to leave a review for you, positive review, hopefully, and then start adding relevant content around the questions that people ask in your business. Make a list of the questions that you get asked constantly and start writing about them, but don't make it an FAQ page. FAQ pages are super confusing for Google, and FAQ pages are meant to contain information about shipping, how to contact me, all that kind of stuff. FAQs are not meant for answering product and service related questions. So for example, how do you calculate holidays for temporary workers? That would be one blog post, and you explain exactly how it is. You provide links to the government websites, you put a calculator in place, and you explain how it's done. And that's how you start. And you just look at the questions that you get constantly and start blogging your heart out.
Brilliant. And if you're not a writer, ChatGPT can help you.
ChatGPT can help, yeah.
Is that something you do? Do you help with writing or?
No, we don't help with writing, but we help people to learn how to blog and how to write blog posts that rank.
Yeah. What's the top tip for learning how to write a blog post then? Because that's cool.
The first thing is to have a really good structure. And think about the thinking process about how you explain the subject, and also is to use keywords that people actually search for. People are quite often, they make up words because they want to be different, and the whole secret about websites is that you mustn't be different, because people are used to a certain way of looking at things, and if you're trying to be different, you're adding a huge amount of friction, and that makes them stop looking at your website. Just be direct and straight. If you look at big websites like HubSpot.com, they don't look exciting, but they provide amazing information.
No, that is incredible. I'm just thinking of the newspaper stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Above
newspapers have been like newspapers forever. No one's been different with a newspaper ever. And that is incredible. So yeah, I love that. I love that top tip.
And the other thing is reduce your logo.
Reduce your logo.
Reduce your logo size. Your logo is not important on your website. If your header is that deep, you want to be that deep. Make it smaller. Remove any strap lines from your logo. If you just have your business name in your logo, it's not important. The logo gives you a branding information and a branding hint, which you can then travel through your website. But the logo at the top, your top navigation, should be an arrow bar that allows people to find really quickly what they're looking for. And don't make your navigation about formats. Don't put in like services or PDFs or YouTube, because people don't Google YouTube. They Google how to calculate holiday pay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. My goodness. You've put a load of links in the chat for everybody. We're supposed to be 50 minutes behind the profile. We're already at 25 minutes. And I could talk to you forever. So you're going to have to come back. I'm going to have to do a specific show on something. I think we've actually got something in there, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we're going to come back. When I talk about this next guest, find that date, and we'll make sure that everybody knows that date. So that's cool. Thank you for being a guest. I had a message from you this morning. some fun facts. I need to know about this helicopter. Come on, spill the beans.
I had always dreamt of being in a helicopter for my whole adult life, really. And then somebody gave me a gift voucher for a trial lesson, and I had never felt so exhilarated that I started taking helicopter flying lessons. And so technically I've got half a license, but when it started to get into the safety things like switching off the engine in mid-air, I thought, no, I don't need a license.
Hang on. The only thing that keeps a helicopter up is the engine. It's
Yes,
not like a, it's
you
not like,
have to.
it's
They
not like
don't
a
really
plane.
switch it off, but you kind of put the lever down, the collective, I think it's called, and so you have to then catch it falling out of the sky. That's just like safety things. And I thought, no, I don't need that in my life. But I can hover a helicopter, I can take off, and pretty much well land it as well. Flying is quite straightforward, but it's amazing. If you ever want a shot and do something really exhilarating, it's just a brilliant thing.
Wow. So I did actually win a ride in a helicopter. That was pretty impressive. And the prize was a night at this really posh hotel. And so when I checked in, they wanted the registration number. So I just wrote helicopter. So that's the coolest I've ever been, and the nearest I've been to driving a helicopter. But that is incredible. You've been a delightful guest. You are so knowledgeable. You're so generous with your knowledge as well. So thank you for that. And you're going to get the date. Meanwhile, I'm going to sneak off to my guest next week and tell you a little bit about Adam Fillery. So he's a networking wizard. And he's coming on to chat with me next week. So he's my guest next week. So looking forward to having a chat with him. So one more question. So when's this date that we've got then for this special show?
ChatGPT, let me quickly find it. It's in the diary. I think it's in March. It's a Friday, 17th.
Friday the 12th of...
No, the 17th of March at 12 o'clock.
Friday the 17th at midday. Perfect. So we're getting you back and we're going to talk all things ChatGPT. My final question to you then. What advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
Just go and do it. Stop thinking about what other people say and just follow your own path. Follow your gut feeling. Perfect. Love that. And that's sort of what I do as well. It doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter. Thank you very much for your lovely comments, everybody. You've been an amazing audience today. Nadine, thank you so much for being on the show. And we'll see you again at the end of March. Thank you so much. Thank you. No, it's been fun. Cheerio. You get out what you put in.